Her story begins on a family farm near Ames, Oklahoma. Originally an elementary school music teacher, Mo Anderson's first love was the piano. She taught music for 14 years before entering the real estate field, encouraged by her high school sweetheart and husband, Richard. It was in real estate where her talents as a businesswoman quickly took hold. She established her first real estate office in Edmond. Soon after, it was the third top-producing office out of 7,500 Century 21 locations in North America. In 1986, she sold the company. Affectionately known as the Velvet Hammer for her uncompromising approach, Mo Anderson was named the president and CEO of Keller Williams in 1995. She shepherded the company from 35 market centers to more than 530 within 10 years. One of the reasons she was named one of real estate's 25 most influential thought realtors by Realtor magazine. A globally renowned leader, her astute business acumen and leadership abilities are uniquely matched by her faith and compassion. By using her experiences, achievements, successes, and God-given gifts, Mo is dedicated to serving people both inside and outside of the real estate industry to live their best life. Her personal integrity and unending drive have inspired a generation of real estate professionals. Mo's personal and professional autobiography, A Joy-Filled Life, Lessons from a Tenant Farmer's Daughter Who Became a CEO, chronicles a truly American success story which encourages readers to follow their dreams while maintaining a culture of integrity and high standards. When not traveling the country sharing her talents as one of the most sought-after speakers, she enjoys spending time with her family here in Oklahoma or while out experiencing the world. For her trailblazing spirit in the real estate industry and her philanthropic work, the Annie Oakley Society is pleased to present the 2018 Annie Oakley Society Award to Mo Anderson.
Under Mo's leadership as vice chairman of the board, Keller Williams really is now rated #1 in the world. The agent count, volume of units. She is also the first female CEO of a real estate company from Oklahoma. For her outstanding business accomplishments, her commitment to educating the next generation, and her compassion for serving others, we are pleased to present the Annie Oakley Society Award to my good friend, Mo Anderson.
Thank you very much. I am really honored to accept this amazing and very, very special award on behalf of every woman who has ever moved from poverty into a life of influence. I'm deeply touched. The room is beautiful. It is amazing what this group has done to honor us, right? Governor Anna Tubby and Darcy Lynn, if she were here. And as I ponder the wonderful list of famous people who have received this honor before me, I kind of wonder why I'm here. Sandra Day O'Connor, Reba McEntire, Kristen Chenoweth, Nadia Kamenich, Admiral Michelle Howard, Donna Shirley, and last year, Mary Higgins Clark. What an impressive list. But you know what? As I look at this list of women, the one that I find myself truly identifying with is Annie Oakley herself. Why? Because Annie lived on a tenant farm. And I grew up on tenant farms because my father was a sharecropper. Annie experienced poverty after the death of her father, and I grew up in poverty. Annie began trapping before the age of 7, shooting and hunting by age 8, in order to support her siblings and her widowed mother. And I began working in the fields at a very young age. I plowed, I scooped wheat, I milked more cows than most of you women have seen, and I have weeded the garden and did all that to help feed our family. We both became well known by our nicknames. Phoebe Ann Mosey was called Annie Oakley, and it is believed that Oakley was the name of the man who gave her the train fare when she escaped from the family who abused and mistreated her. Now, my real name, get ready. No, my mother didn't have a bad dream. She found it in a book. My real name is Imozell. I-Mo-Zell. Did you get it? In high school, they often called me Imo, and the very first person I met at college shortened it to Mo, and it stuck. And I'm so glad. Annie was a role model for women in a male-dominated industry. And so was I. When I entered the real estate business in 1974, it was primarily powered by men. Now, Annie taught 15,000 women how to shoot a gun. And I've had the pleasure of teaching to over 180,000 real estate agents, either in person or by way of the internet. Annie was called Little Sure Shot. And in my company, I'm known as the Velvet Hammer. Now, Annie loved her horse. And I had a horse that I rode to my piano lessons a mile down the road. Unfortunately, between me and my piano teacher, there was a bridge. And my horse would never walk across that bridge with me on her back. And so I would get off, lead my pony across the bridge, and because I was small back then, I absolutely could not get back on that horse. And I would walk the rest of the way, leading my pony to my piano lesson. After the lesson was over, the piano teacher walked outside, helped me get back on the horse, and sure enough, when we hit the bridge, I had it to do all over again. Now, Annie Oakley overcame adversity, and so did I. She won 54 of 55 liable lawsuits against newspapers. Yet, she collected less in judgments than the total of her legal expenses. Now, in growing a fledgling young national company, there were times that were so difficult I thought about quitting. But I hung in there because I'd been in a lot of tough situations before. And I believe for all of us, It takes a lot of courage to get up every day and fight the battles that life presents us. Well, Annie became a philanthropist late in life, and she continued to influence people until she died at age 66. And I have also had the privilege of giving back and influencing others in the later years of my own life. I am not retired. I still work. I thought my 70s were the greatest decade of all, but let me tell you what, folks, the 80s are coming in mighty strong. Receiving this award was not even on my radar as I grew up in my feed sack dresses on the farm. Now, Annie mentored the young people of her day, as you heard Darcy Lynn say, to aim at a high mark and you'll hit it, not the first time, not the second time, probably not even the third time, but keep on aiming and keep on shooting because it's practice that will make you perfect. Now, I've always had just a little bit of Annie in me because I never, ever give up. After teaching music in the public schools for 14 years, I entered the business world in 1974, and I knew nothing about business. But this community nurtured me, encouraged me, empowered me, and provided fertile ground for exponential growth. And in the late 1980s, Richard and I lost all of our money in the downturn of the Oklahoma economy. And yet, opportunity came knocking when Gary Keller, founder of Keller Williams Realty, invited me to be his business partner and co-owner of his company and asked me to become the CEO of that small, tiny, fledgling company. When I began that journey of being the first female CEO of a real estate franchise, Keller Williams was home to 45 offices and 1,800 agents in just a few states. And today, there are 1,000 offices, 189,000 agents in 32 countries around the world. And as she told you before, we are enjoying the #1 position in the world. And that absolutely excites every competitive bone in my body. But even more important than that, we are recognized as the #1 training company out of all industries. Isn't that amazing? But what I am proudest most of all, we are #1 in our philanthropic efforts. And when I was CEO, I started KW Cares. And that charity, which takes care of our people. And I've often said, if every business in the world had a philanthropic model like we had, there would be no need for any kind of welfare. And our people contribute to this effort of KW Cares to the tune of $5 and $6 million a year. And so, here I am, 81 years old, and so proud that I have lived to 81, and I'll be 82 my next birthday. I stand in awe of God's plan for my life because I thought I would be a public school teacher forever. I can't believe the amazing people He has put into my life. I appreciate you all so much. So many of you have come today, and I am so touched that you would take time to do this. But the path I've traveled is not a plan I could ever have thought up on my own. And none of these accomplishments could have been possible without the foundation of family, of faith, and community that this great state of Oklahoma has provided me. And I cannot thank you enough. Annie Oakley said, and I quote, "I have only one wish today. When my eyes are closed in death, they will bury me back on that quiet little farm where I was born." Oklahoma will always remain the land I love to call home. And there's a little plot in the Waukomis, Oklahoma cemetery waiting for me. And it will be my final resting place. You see, I wanted to go back home, just like Annie Oakley. So in closing, let me say, may this outstanding, fabulous Annie Oakley Society and your amazing educational programs that the governor was so wonderful to fund, may you continue to inspire and to nurture women to find just a little piece of Annie Oakley inside them so that all of us together may leave legacies that will impact generations to come. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And my most favorite thing in the world in terms of art happens to be sculptures. And there it is. May God richly bless all of you. Thank you.